Hello and welcome to another video. This is cracking the Cryptic app Fog of War pack puzzle number 44, Conceal-cutive Sudoku. The rules are full white dot. A white dot between two cells indicates that the neighboring digits are consecutive. All possible dots are given. Fog of War. Correctly placed digits clear the fog around them. And lastly, classic. Every row, column, and box must have all numbers from 1 to 9 exactly once. Let's begin by quickly filling in all the cells in the grid with their possible values. And since we have number 3 already given, we can clean it out from the notes in the same row, column, and box. Now these two cells are consecutive with the number 3 as per the white circle between them, so they can only be the 2 and the 4. And now that we have the 2 and 4 in that box, they don't show up anywhere else in that box. Since this cell is consecutive to the 2 and 4, it can only be a 1 or a 5. Cannot be 6 or higher. And now this cell is consecutive to the 1 and 5, so it cannot be the 1 itself. Oops, cannot be the 1 itself, because then this would be a 5. Cannot be the 5, because then this would be the 1. But it also cannot be the 3, 7, 8, or 9. Now we ask, can this be the number 1? And the answer is obviously no, because then both of these cells, because they're consecutive to the 1, would have to be the number 2. But a number 2 cannot show up twice in the same row. Therefore, this is not the number 1. It is therefore the number 5. And so, this cannot be the number 2, because it's not consecutive to the 5, meaning that this is a 4, and then this is a 6. And so this is the number 2. And now two new digits were revealed. This 4 over here, which we have to manually clean from the notes, and this 7 over here, which is in the same boat. Now these two cells are consecutive, so this can only be a 6 or an 8. These cells are consecutive, so a 1 cannot go in there. And these cells are consecutive, so this cannot be a 1, 2, 3, 8, or 9. Okay, so we are playing full white dot, meaning that all possible dots are given when cells are consecutive. So since we don't see a dot between these two cells, we know that this cannot be the number 5, or else it would be consecutive to the 4. Same over here, this cannot be a 7. And none of these can be a 6 because they're not consecutive to the 5. And this cannot be an 8 because it's not consecutive to the 7. Okay, let's keep going. Over here, we cannot have the number 1 because it would need to have the number 2 show up twice on its sides, but they cannot show up twice in the same box. So that's not the number 1. It's also not the number 9, because then 9 would need number 8 showing up twice on its sides, because that's the only consecutive number to the 9. But can this number by itself be the number 8? Let's assume that it can. Well, the numbers on its sides would be 7 and 9. And so you would not have a 7 or a 9, a 7 or a 9 anywhere else in that box. And so this would be the number 5, and the number 5 would not be down here, but now you have number 1 showing up twice in this box number 7, which is in fact a contradiction. So number 8 does not show up here. And now, since this is only a 2 or 3, that means that the numbers on its sides cannot be 5 or higher. It cannot be 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. This number also cannot be the number 1, because it has two consecutive values that it sees in the same column. So if this was a 1, both of these cells would have to be the 2, but number 2 cannot show up twice there. So this is not the number 1. However, 2, 3, and 2, 3 are a pair, meaning that we don't have 2, 3 anywhere else in the same box, and so this would have to be the number 1. They're consecutive, so this is a 2, this is a 3, and now this would have to be the number 4. Okay, we've made some good progress, so let's just make sure to clean everything up properly as well. For example, this is the number 4, and the cells I selected are not don't have a white circle between that and the 4. So they're not consecutive to the 4, meaning that they cannot contain numbers 3 or 5. Furthermore, this cell down here cannot possibly not contain a 5, because if it didn't contain a 5, then this would be an 8, 9. They would be consecutive, but there's no white circle between them. Therefore, the assumption that this is not the 5 leads to a contradiction, and so a 5 is here, meaning that a 7 has to be here. These two are not consecutive, so this is not the 8. And now a 7 has to go here, meaning that this cannot be the 9. Okay, that's some good progress, but let's keep going. So this cell right here, let's assume that this cell is the number 2. Well, in that case, this would not be the 2, and the lowest digit here is a 6. But they're supposed to be consecutive, so this cannot be the 2. How about a 3? Well, the number 3 would need to have 2 consecutive numbers on its sides here, and they are 2 and 4. However, number 4 is already taken. So this cannot be the number 3 either. And now, since the lowest number here is a 6, 2 and 3 cannot show up here on the sides. So there's 2 possible configurations here, because there's 3 consecutive numbers from 6 to 9. It's either 6, 7, 8 in some way, starting either from the top or from the bottom, or it is a 7, 8, 9. And if you pay attention, you'll see that 7 and 8 show up in both configurations, because this is either 6, 7, 8, having the 7, 8, or it is a 7, 8, 9, again having the 7, 8. So 7 and 8 must show up between these 3 cells, and so 7 and 8 cannot show up anywhere else in the same column or box. So 8 and 7 are not there, meaning that this has to be the number 9. And so, because they're consecutive, because they're next to each other and they're not consecutive, then this cannot be the 8. And then the 8 must be down here. And now an 8 is somewhere here, meaning that it cannot be anywhere here in this box. Now, furthermore, this is a 6, 7, and 8. 9 is no longer available, meaning that the digit that can only sit, that the only digit that can sit in the middle is the number 7. Because if this was a 6, it would not have 2 consecutive values, and same with the 8. So this has to be the 7. And so number 6 is also nowhere else in the same box or column. And so this is a 6, and then this is the 8. Okay, let's keep going. This has to be the number 6 now. And then number 3 cannot show up here because they're supposed to be consecutive, giving you an 8, 9 pair. And so number 1 has to go here. Number 3 has to go here. And a number 9 goes down there. However, since a number 3 is right here, that means that we cannot have number 2 showing up above it, or a number 4, because they would be consecutive to the 3, and they're not. So this is a 5, and so this must be the 4, and then this is the number 2. So this cannot be a 1, a 2, 7, 8, or a 9. These two are not consecutive, so this is not a 3. And this is the 5, and these two are not consecutive, so this must be the 8, 1, and then this is the 6. Now these are not consecutive, so number 2 is not there. These are not consecutive, so this is not the 5 or the 7. and these aren't consecutive, so this isn't the 9. Now furthermore, a number 1 cannot show up here between these two cells because number 2 isn't available. Number 3 can't go here because then this would be a 5. 5 can't go here because then this would be 3 and they will be consecutive, and 9 obviously can't go there either. How about here? Well, 4 can't be here because nothing here will be consecutive to it, and same with 6. Okay. Let's take a look at this now. Number 8 isn't available in these two cells, so number 9 can't be here, or else it would not have anything to be consecutive with it. And 5 doesn't have anything consecutive with it either. Now, can this be the number 2? No, because then this would be a 1 and 3, and they would not be consecutive. So this is not the number 2. Can this be the number 1? Also not, because if this was a 1, then this would be a 2, because they would have to be consecutive. But where would the number 3 go in this box? Number 3 can only go here or here, so if this is a 2, then this has to be the 3. But 2 and 3 would have to be consecutive, and they're not, as we can see no white circle between them. So the assumption that number 1 goes here leads to a contradiction. So that's a 2. And that does reveal something new. Namely, it reveals that there is a white circle between them. So this cannot be a 6 or an 8. It also cannot be a 3, because if this was a 3, then this would be a 1 and they wouldn't be consecutive. Now over here, you cannot have a 2, cannot have a 4, because that would force this to not be consecutive, cannot have a 6 or 7, so this must be the number 3. And so this has to be the number 3 now, meaning that this is a 3, and then this is the 5. Okay, let's keep going. What can we do? Well, a number 5 is either here or here, meaning it cannot be anywhere else in the same row. And since a number 5 has to be somewhere here between them, then that means that the digits here cannot be an 8, 9, or a 1, 2, because they would not be consecutive with the 5. And so this must be the number 5, and then this is either a 4 or a 6. Let's go through the digits now and see if maybe we're missing something simple. This is the number 1. For example, number 9, immediately we see can't go here because it doesn't have an 8 to be consecutive with it. 4 also doesn't work because it doesn't have a 5 or 6 here, a 3, sorry, or a 5 here. Now this or this is the number 4, so a 4 cannot be anywhere up there. Okay, that's the 4, 5, 6. Number 6 is either here or here, meaning it cannot be anywhere up there. Okay. Now we've placed the number 3 here, and that means that around it, these two cells cannot be consecutive, so you can have a 2 or a 4 over there. And now this cannot be the number 1. Oops. This cannot be the number 1. Okay. Let's keep going. So that's the number 1. Number 2 is either here or here, meaning that it's not over here. And now this cannot be the number 1 because it doesn't have a 2 anymore to be consecutive with it. So this is an 8-9 pair, meaning that we don't have an 8 or a 9 up there. And so this is a 7. This cannot be a 6 because it would have to be consecutive with the 7. So this is a 4, and then this is a 6. And so a 5 isn't here because it would be consecutive. And now we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 pair. So we don't have a 1 or a 2 anywhere else over there. And this is also a 1, 2 because it has to be consecutive with the 1, 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2 are a pair, so we can't have a 1 or 2 anywhere there. This is a 5-9 pair, so this has to be the number 1. And so this has to be the number 4, and so this is the number 7, because this is a 5-9. So this is a 6, this is a 2, 8, 9, and then this is the number 1, 8, and 9. Now this cannot be a 3 because it's not consecutive to the 4. And this cannot be the 8 because it's not consecutive to the 7. This can no longer be the 9 because there's no 8 here. And can we do something else? Let's check. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so we have to be careful. We must be missing something. Let's just pay a little bit more attention here. So first of all, this cannot be a 6 or a 7. Because if this was a 6, then this would be a 7 and they would be consecutive. And if this was a 7, oops, then this would be a 6 and they would be consecutive, and they're not. So this can only be the number 4. And 4 only has a 5 consecutive with it, meaning that this is a 2. And so this is an 8, 7, 6, 5. This has to be the 9 because these are not consecutive. This cannot be a 6 because it's supposed to be consecutive to whatever is here. And then this is a 9. 1, 4, 2, 1. And so this is a 2, meaning that this must be, actually it could be either a 1 or a 3. This is a 6. 7 is here because they're consecutive. This is a 3, 8, 3, 8, meaning that the 5 is over here. And then this is the number 1, 6, 9, 8, 7, 5, 9, and then this is 3, 2, and 4. So this is a 1, 3, 3, 8, 9, and lastly the 8. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one.